recording now?
But then we discussed long term, so I think you made it.
Oh, please go on the page.
Troy can ask me a couple questions.
Did you know that this
Actually, same question.
or bringing a word process list?
I think we did.
So, well,
I think we got it. At least. I think we passed.
Thank you.
So you gotta do all the controlling, huh?
I'm so
You're the big boss
Well,
man.
give me a pizza.
no.
Two thumbs go.
I was starting to like feel like snapping.
Yeah, I can do.
I don't care. So you're there. Oh, okay. Hey, so who's that? Is it Lena?
Oh, it'll be.
Lena's after me, right?
So, do I finish your Brian or
Or I just like pause.
I said we take a break and discuss.
Break after.
So we're gonna discuss after.
Right. Depending on.
I'm gonna record by then, by the way.
Hi. Oh, where's your
Pick three topics.
Yes, that you want
How
how
to
to
clear every one.
Yes. So, but she wants it in the
Yeah, we need more there, don't we? 'Cause
So I think the best thing you can do is when you
you gotta
guys
be
Yeah,
super
me too.
crowded.
and email or videos to be there in class. So,
You don't know.
here, I'll send you this picture to you,
Okay,
so you have it, instead of you having to go through.
I'm not gonna
I need water, man. I'm gonna get all parched in the middle of it.
talk. No, that's okay. Okay. I don't know what it's called.
You guys know how you did on time? Were you watching on
Yeah,
that?
I did 15. What we do,
You know, I'll
15
send it to you on
minutes?
email. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's like thing that they've done like that. Yeah, it's good.
Not bad.
No, it was good.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I gotta go home, lay down, I gotta piss this out.
Oh, yeah, you look like you're struggling.
Sorry, you don't want to see this nightmare anyway.
See you guys.
Oh, is it that bad?
You see, we did
No,
15
come on.
minutes, 5-0. We need someone that is gonna ask us.
So, you know, since
Did you read
discuss
the
just
timer?
every single person. Yeah, what you guys want to discuss
Is there books?
I know.
I don't think there is back
Wait, so I heard two things. First, that we're gonna discuss after
There's the
the
total
or
time.
discuss after the
individually, so.
So we preemptively put it in order, we sit down and then we talk.
Yes, you guys have any questions for me?
Oh, yeah.
Not aware of. Because really, yeah, that's not illegal as far as I know.
All right, and you know a lot about the point line.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, also, when we finish, I will be, gosh, that happened. Okay, at the end, when you guys finish, I'm gonna have to give you assignment for thank you.
Oh, I freaking love that guy.
Awesome.
Yay. Okay, I will give you your assignments for probably the rest of the semester, because we're gonna move quickly, there's lots to do in the next 4 weeks, that's all we have left. So, okay, give me just a second.
Do you want me to give you the
Thank you.
folder right now?
Yes, I think that would be, please. And,
No, yeah. Look, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go check the restroom. See if you are. Greg?
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, there's John.
Okay, make sure you're not, give them your full attention. Nobody should be on any kind of electronic device. This thing is running, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I don't want to take away any points from anybody for them not paying attention. I know it's hard to watch these groups sometimes, even though they're all excellent, but it's,
I'm in the parking lot.
Almost got it.
see it. Okay, so everybody on screen there, that's right. Are you the task person who's counting?
It doesn't really require a camera person, really.
Okay,
yeah,
just take, give it.
It's been recording this since the start of the break.
Oh, wow.
So,
You're
Awesome.
good.
Okay, give me just 1 second.
it covers basically from the TV, the monitor over there to the poster.
So I'm gonna put it back here.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready to go.
How's it going, everybody?
Good.
All right, I'm Jesse Ramirez. I'm the CEO of Acme Bank. We are all here to discuss the upgrading security surveillance that we're going to use for our bank. Alina is our HR Remac. Travis Craig is our security manager. Ryan Ellis is our attorney. And then we have Alexis Aarons and Greg Johnson over here. And they are our sales reps that I'm looking into upgrading our system in. So anyway, I want everybody to discuss in this meeting. We're here for about 40 to 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, whether or not. And the purpose is to upgrade our surveillance system and whether or not our actions are going to be made. Let's see, this is our bank, as everybody knows. We are a personal, individual bank. We want everybody to come to us. We are very low on word of mouth of customers right now. So we have to get more out there throughout the world. So let's talk about the pros for security cameras. First of all, they are they're mandatory right now. Every bank needs to have security cameras. So as that's being said, banks are a high risk of territory. It deters robberies throughout the banks. Banking is a high demand, such as technology that meets strict specifications of the banking market. I also have a question for if we should go with the physical security, either have armed or unarmed officers. We want to pay the extra money and go that route. Basically, security cameras need a high level of service protection and security. Basically, it has to be monitored on occasion to see what's happening throughout the bank. We need it to be serviced once in a while, so that'll take money. We need positive for everyone's safety. It's very positive, so we can monitor our employees, but not get into the legal matters of it. National security says protection via video surveillance is a central component of offering to the banking market. It provides evidence of robberies, shows who or what, how accidents happen, etc. It can show employee theft, harassment. Cameras show evidence of everything that happens. Cameras can be used to see how much cash was dispersed. So if we have someone, a teller, say, who is dispersing cash, and it's like, oh, that's not as much as we need, we have evidence to provide that. Also, here are some of my security ideas that I researched in. pass those over. John, you can. I have right here. All right. So, there we go. Perfect. So anyway, these are the 4 options that I can use. There is the outdoor dome 100. It's for a true day and night. So basically, I want it nighttime, of course, and also in daylight. And that's can round about $150, $53 per camera. There's the long tack alert. That is the network that is quite up there, but it's very doable. And then we have the cheaper cameras down the line, so we can know is that if we don't want to go with the big expensive ones, we could also have the lower end ones. So those are our choices that I've looked into personally. So there's those. There we go. So those are I have in mind for security cameras. Also, let's talk about physical security. Physical security is basically it's a multi-investment. It can go over time. And so basically we have to provide hours for the bank. We have to, we could maybe hire what, 1 or 2 at max if we don't go with security surveillance, of course. Basically cons, they are a lot of money. And also, they can also act as a witness if crime happens. But I won't go to the legal side, that's my attorney's part. So anyway, I'm gonna hand it over to Ray so we can look into more sales aspects.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you all for coming today. I'm my associate and I here today. We are Apex Security Company. And you know, it's good to see small businesses come up, and we know that you guys are coming up because you've heard of us. We're only referral based with being off the ads. So it's good to be here. Thank you for having us. And as Jesse touched on, physical security is really, it's an important thing to have as a bank and just any business in general. But more importantly, good security. I've seen way too many instances of security guards that will just go around and chase random kids around for no reason. That's not what we're about. We go to these academies. We have people in the academies that they train these people themselves, and they give us the top members of their group. So we are Apex Security Associates. As Jesse mentioned, there are 2 types of security, armed and unarmed. These are just the basic qualifications to be an armed security guard. Trained at a Bureau certified facility. They have passed their criminal history check by Department of Justice and the FBI. That's submitting their fingerprints to them. And they've been permitted to carry a firearm by the Bureau of Security. So, while it's a good thing to have this protection, they have guns on them, and each one is permitted to have say different caliber firearm. It may cause a threat, as you said. It may start a firefight if armed robbers come in to rob the bank. That's something you guys might want to weigh. I can tell you that we do have the best armed security though, and they are well trained with their weapons. They know how to manage conflict. So anytime something arises, they will not just walk. The other type of security we have is unarmed, which really doesn't take too much training. It's a 40-hour course for them. And like I said, we pick the best. They know what they're doing as well. It's a lower price for insurance costs and also lower annual salary, which we can go over the details of that once we figure out if you guys do want security guards, how many you would want. We can go over those details at that time.
Sweet, cool.
mentioned academy. What's the academy length like? What are they getting trained at?
The academy length, it varies. It's about a 2-week.
Yeah, so I'm assuming like the firearms would be a longer training because they need more training for that. And then the unarmed, retired police officers, stuff like that along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
What typical training does an unarmed security guard go through to receive the certification?
It's mostly online courses, but they do have to go into certain certified places to take some tests and things like that. While the armed, they do have to go in and actually spend, I think it was 16 hours on the course.
And that's a state certified course, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Bureau certified.
Also, with armed security guards, what are they typically armed with? Because I know you mentioned threat to insurance and true property damage.
There are different levels of armed security, so it could be anything from a taser to, actual pistol. It depends on what they're certified in, what caliber pistol.
Do your guards also do transportation money? Like if we wanted to use like an armed truck to transfer money from one vault to another, one location to another?
We do have those services as well, but the guards actually at the bank would not be the ones to take the money.
Right, so that's a separate service.
Yes.
I have a question regarding, as employees, since technically we would be hiring them, would they be considered Apex still security as separate or we're hiring
We-
as contract?
We are a company that brings you your
Okay. Okay.
So, like I keep saying, is we want our customers to feel like we want them to be there. So security has to deter any robberies, of course, because we have a huge lot of money we're gonna have. We wanna build our bank up, not down. So we wanna keep being friendly, and we need to establish how many we want, how many security cameras, like we have to make security cameras, but we also might look into going the physical route.
And that is a good point too. Security guards can play a lot.
It's a big goal for our
Yeah, it
kids.
is. Alexis, do you want to? Let's go.
So, as Greg said, I work with Apex Security, and one of the biggest things we pride Apex in is keeping on top of new and developing technologies. Banks are often seen as some of the most secure institutions on the planet. People entrust them with their money, and it is your job to keep it safe. In order to fulfill this commitment, high-quality security systems are an absolute necessity. Banks continue to be common targets for criminals looking for a high payout. Quality surveillance, as Jesse said, can deter robberies and provide important images to law enforcement to try and capture that image of the suspect. Video surveillance technology is rapidly advancing, and we here at Apex keep up with it. One of the newest innovations is using a facial recognition software to help the problem check fraud at banks by capturing images of the offenders, as usually it's caught after the fact. This information can be used to identify criminals and helps in protecting your customers' valued accounts. Just as fraud is getting more advanced, Apex is keeping one step ahead. One of the most impressive technologies has also landed as well, and it will only get better from here. Intelligent security cameras are using advanced algorithms to determine behavior recognition and facial recognition, and they can be used to effectively identify suspects with a suspicious or normal activity in and around your bank. This software can identify objects by shape, size, and color. When it comes to people, it can detect their gender, approximate age, mood, and other demographic information. Using multiple cameras, it can track their patterns and some behaviors. It will automatically zoom in on a person's face and identify them based on things like the shape of their nose or the distance between their eyes. I have taken the liberty of designing a 3D model of your bank, as well as releasing where I believe security will best benefit you. Here we have the front of the bank. The security cameras are identified by the toothpicks. We would place one here above the entrance, as well as one on the side entrance, and one on each side to get that 360 view. concerns, of course, by not putting one in the bathrooms. We put one here on the other entrance where you'll have a full view of your lobby, as well as here above the teller counter so you can see all views. And then we, of course, have one in the vault. One way to combat the privacy concerns, you do have signs saying that there is constant video surveillance in the lobby, and you can have one here in your offices.
Very good. That one too, how it's the sea. That's very cool. Cool. Awesome. Travis, let's go with you next. Security.
Alright everyone, so I'm Travis Gray, I'm the Department Security Manager for Acme Bank. We've heard our sales reps discuss their packages for their security systems for our bank, and I'd like to discuss what I would look for myself in making sure the bank is secure and making sure we get everything that is necessary to protect our bank and protect our customers. As you may not know, bank robbery is still currently a thing. It's not like back in the Old West where people would run up and, I mean, those come things with masks and 6-gun shooters and all that. But there's still fairly common methods of bank robbery. The first one being similar to 6-gun hold-up sort of thing. People will run in broad daylight and armed, assault the register and take money. This is not a very common threat, as typically license plate numbers are reported. Common security measures such as cameras make this very difficult to get away with. But it's just something I want to address. I want to make sure that there's cameras on these guys. I want to make sure some of our money has like the fake ink packets that go into effect that allows us to trace these guys. Another important one in the common day and age is cybersecurity, cyber theft. We hold a lot of information for our customers and the people that we represent and hold money for. We have their addresses, their names, phone numbers, emails, social security numbers, and all of their bank information. And as such, we kind of need to keep our computers and various other things very secure so that people cannot rob us of their information. And the final and also the final primary theft that we need to worry about is protection from our employees. Is actually one of the most major forms of theft in a bank. We have to make sure all of our employers are monitored and that one person does not control too much of the bank. Too much of like their revenue sources. Like we need multiple people on payrolls, we do double checks. We need multiple people there when cash is exchanged at any point. We need eyes on the teller counters as well as displayed by the security cameras. And so I have a electronic document that overviews some of the security measures that I want to have in the bank. So this is my brief presentation on security measures. The first topic I want to talk about is cameras. Can everyone see this already?
Yes.
Security cameras should be utilized at all entries and exits and places of transaction. This was gone over by Alexis. She noted all the cameras at entrances and exits and had some point at the teller counter. I don't believe we have a problem with this with the current package that they offer. The next is that they should be visible. They should be highly visible, and as Alexis went over, there should be signs stating that this is under video surveillance. Deterrence is a major thing in security. The next is that they should be able to record video and be monitored. Believe it or not, a lot of cameras are just there for show, and some people will not actually have their camera recording much. In addition to this, I want the cameras, rather than recording to themselves like a memory on the camera itself, I want them reporting back to a central area to be reported on multiple databases and have some sort of central security area, whether on site or off, that can monitor all this and keep records. The next point is alarms. You guys didn't talk about this very much, but it's just that alarms should not rely on human action at all. Basically, no one should have to go into armed security. They should be on at certain times of the day. Same with like doors and vault doors. They should be closed after after the business day is over. They should not be able to be open. I don't know if you guys do door installation or anything like that. And they should be directly connected to the security department like you guys and or to like 911 or other security services. From the guards, I do believe guards and physical security is a necessity. I know we had some kind of discussion about that, but they should be visible. Same with the cameras. That visibility is definitely a deterrent for any sort of armed robbery or any sort of attack like that, including employee robbery. They should be present during and after hours. I don't want them any time where we don't have some sort of guard or security presence there. Finally, they should be monitoring both visitors and employees. As I said, employee theft is a big form of theft, and we need them monitored as well. Finally, is electronic security. This is, as I said, a big deal in modern times where a lot of information is stored on the computer, a lot of bank transactions are performed on the computer. The first thing is that the computers to monitor employees need to be able to track what file was modified, when, by who, and various other things. I don't know if you guys do security programs on the computer, or if you will need to hire another company for computer security. Another point is online and network servers. They need to be isolated. We need to have no other things coming from outside sources. We don't need to have employees on the internet that for other purposes besides what we need to have to do. If we even need them on the internet, is all that we can discuss. So that's the point of discussion is, do you guys actually offer any?
We, at Apex, we do offer it. We were unaware that that was an issue here, so we got to have a follow-up meeting and bring a cybersecurity associate with us to address those concerns.
Cybersecurity, do you think to address?
As well as the alarms.
Yeah, we do offer,
Right.
that's all stuff we can add on.
That's about it for my presentation on what I expect around the security. Do any of you have anything to add, like any of the SOA representatives?
One of the things is we can set it up so if our cameras, or if we do have an armed guard at night, if you can set up certain hours where if the cameras detect any motion inside certain areas, that the local police department can automatically be notified.
That's good. Does anyone from the company have any other suggestions or comments on my classroom security?
I do like the fact that you don't want the alarms activated by employees. Something about that tells me like it might hold back on some liability issues for the company if they hit a button and the guy shoots him. So I actually have a question for you. The facial recognition system that you brought up, who is monitoring that? Would you?
That would be the security manager, whoever's put in charge of managing.
So it would be like Travis here would be okay.
Whoever he directs to do that.
And so, how do you have a problem with that? Is there any flaws in the software? Have you had points?
It's developing every day. I mean, in 10 years from now, we'll look back and say, could have been better. But that's something that we're waiting on the technology to get there.
So there'd be special training that we put Travis through that would give him the ability to.
Fortunately, the software does a lot of it, but
Okay.
Travis would have to familiarize himself with some of the
Okay.
technology.
Also, we have to quote all this out, so I know in future actions that if when we take, quoting takes money too,
Yeah.
so we have to look at everything as a whole, not make any rash decisions. So, Ryan?
Yes, Danny. I was actually really pleased. You guys brought up a lot of legal issues that I was hoping to bring up. As an attorney, knock this over. As an attorney, my main concern is us going to jail or us getting a lawsuit. So that's a big thing. Deep pockets, they bring a lot of people trying to sue you. So here's some of the key issues that I was concerned about. We have the California Penal Code 631, which I'll be discussing. We also have 435, also Penal Code, and the Fourth Amendment rights. Now basically, Penal Code 631 is incredibly long and extremely dry. As an attorney, I found myself falling asleep. It basically says no audio. It covers wiretapping. So any of the cameras that you'd be providing for us, I would hope there would be no audio whatsoever because we don't want to run into legal issues with that because the audio picking up just a side conversation, hear the wrong thing, we're in trouble and we're also liable. For Penal Code 435, it's monitoring employees. Basically, it covers the areas that you want to be able to monitor employees, employee rights, essentially. Restrooms restrooms, locker rooms, and dressing rooms. It's a no-brainer. I mean, obviously, if there's a reasonable expectation of privacy, you do not want to be monitoring. And I was glad to see that you didn't have that in your model here. All right. So, Hernandez versus Hillside Incorporated. This case was an employer had put a hidden camera inside of a work office. He worked with children, and there had been somebody using his work computer to put child pornography. So he thought it was okay to just hide a camera so he could catch the culprit. How this applies to us is hidden cameras in the workplace. The California Supreme Court decided that a hidden camera was unfair because of reasonable expectation of privacy. So we want to keep away from hidden cameras. Also, you must notify employees where your cameras are going to be located. You had brought up that you had brought up that they'd be visible everywhere, which is a great way. But also, you had said something about signs, which I think was great because we definitely want to reduce the expectation of privacy. All right, so the Fourth Amendment really doesn't need to be applied here. It's unreasonable search and seizure, so it would go towards the evidence collected when we have a robbery. Could the police use it to actually prosecute? U.S. versus Knowles states that if it's in a public place like a bank or outside, that we are good to go. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy in a public place. And in this, that you had brought up, it is federally mandated in the 1960s that all banks have some kind of security system. So my main concern is, let's do it right and let's do it legal. If any questions for me, I'd be glad to ask. All right, sir.
So where are some, as we're talking about the restrooms now, but where would you put security cameras if you were in my position as CEO?
If I was in your position, I would stick to main lobbies, entrances and exits. You don't even want to get people going into the bathroom. If you want to put it at a far view, maybe catch somebody so you can see them walking, but you don't want to put it right at the door of the restroom. I would also stay away from like break areas. Break areas, it's technically not illegal to video surveillance a break area, but just with the whole expectation of privacy, it's kind of a gray area, so I would try to stay away from that.
Yeah, I'd like to support that from a human resource point, that it is technically an employee area. It is technically considered a private area, and therefore it says, as Ryan had already mentioned, that pretty much areas where there's bathrooms and even kind of private meeting rooms, you want to stay away from those kind of areas.
Did you want to go down on your presentation?
Sure.
Wait, I had another question for Ryan, actually. So we were discussing earlier armed and unarmed security guards, and I know that has a lot of legal implications, like it can damage people, it can damage other property besides their own. It is my opinion that an armed security guard might provide more security, but would it legally be better, in your opinion, to go for an unarmed security force?
From a legal point, I would think that we would be held liable, say the guard was knocked unconscious and the gun was taken from him. That's where I would be concerned about that. But also on the counterbalance side, you're right. It's an armed guard is definitely more of a deterrent than somebody sitting there with a can of mace. So
do you have a strong opinion one way or the other? Or is it...
I would like ideally to see a combination of unarmed security guards mixed with some kind of security system.
Perhaps like one armed IPD and then a couple unarmed.
Yes, that would be great.
Greg, do you have anything you wanted to add to the legal side of it, or do you have any questions?
As far as when somebody does initiate the guard, when are you guys liable and when are we not liable?
That would be something I would have to dig into further. And I don't want to give you an uneducated answer. So if we do get back together in another meeting, I'll research that topic for you, because I'm sure there's a real thin line there, and I don't want to misquote it.
Yeah,
So-
thank you. I was just thinking the
Okay.
same thing.
Okay. So, my name is Alina. As Jesse had already announced, I am a representative of the Human Resources. Today I'm going like to mention statistics. A lot of times, customers or whoever wants to know what is behind our logic on why we are doing surveillance. Of course, we can always say, oh, obviously for protection, but there's bigger, there's bigger too. There's more things behind it, and facts are always a great thing. So, first thing is, American Management Association showed more than half of employers use video surveillance to manage work areas that, at work to counter theft, violence, or sabotage. And that's only half. And it only says places that involved not very major areas, quite rural, and half is only because of the survey that was filled out. So as far as I know, there's a lot more. And as Ryan mentioned before, it was mandated in 1960, so we can only imagine just how many employers are using surveillance right now. And this is also a great thing to mention for our customers and employees, so that it's not just our choice, but we can say there were many, many other companies who have chosen this path and they've succeeded. Video surveillance has saved companies hundreds of dollars in stolen products, as well as proven that people are also less likely to steal if they know that they are being monitored. So we're kind of saying this is for your own good. You know, if you are going to be doing some sort of illegal act, we suggest not to. And if you're aware, as Travis and almost all of you have mentioned, the fact that there should be signs, and I strictly support that, and I'll get to that later. Video surveillance increases safety, and monitoring regulates security threats that can be accurately assessed. One major thing that I love about surveillance, video surveillance particularly, is if there is some sort of illegal act that occurs, police can come and they can use that as evidence. And I know many times there has been a separate illegal act that has happened, let's say, across the street at a gas station, but strangely enough, the surveillance camera that was on the bank or any other building caught it, and obviously justice was served. Next thing I would like to address is purpose of surveillance. This is kind of a note for our employees and customers. Once again, what is the point of it? Productivity. Video surveillance monitors employee productivity. It determines job performance in areas where the employees need improvement and ensure that they follow the company's safety rules. A lot of times we might see some sort of incident where a person doesn't know how to operate a certain machine. Maybe they're new. Maybe the training isn't there and they're trying to figure something out. Surveillance can check that out, and maybe Jesse might be looking through this video surveillance just for a yearly annual kind of checkup and notice that, hey, you're having a hard time, would you need some help? Protect the employees. It serves as a direct or indirect source of protection by allowing the company to know their employees are safe and from harm's way. Pretty much the same situation. It could be either within the company, it could be a threat that comes into the company, and yeah, that's a really big major thing. And this considers our employees as well as customers that enter our building, and we're liable for their safety. Protect the company. Video surveillance intends to record criminal actions such as theft or vandalism to the company's property. It speaks for itself. You can, it's obvious the banks are not always 24/7. Something can happen during the night, and a camera outside and inside can catch a certain illegal act, and therefore, if there's a car involved, it could catch the license plate or whatsoever else. And finally, meeting the expectations. This is an explanation further more for our customers and employees what they should expect with the service of surveillance. Security is there to be a barrier against threat. If a situation gets out of hand, surveillance can report any confrontation. Otherwise, security guards can handle the situation. And that is where it kind of balances itself, where you have personnel and knowledge combined, and it always has its benefits, but I'm pretty sure we'll discuss that in a bit. No surveillance is included in bathrooms, changing rooms, or any other area where a person's privacy might be invaded. Pretty much what we just discussed with Ryan, Jesse, and just our whole team, that privacy is a big thing, and that's a notification for our employees and customers that we respect that. We're not here to spy. We're just here for your safety, as employees are responsible, for example, for, clerk does his job, phone teller does his job, and then there's security, which just is this whole package together. Visibly informative signs and notifications will be provided with their codes, rules, and regulations for every customer that walks in and every working employee. That is a major, major thing, because that way they can't turn around and say, I didn't know. It's like, we have signs. We have signs that are visible, and we want you to be informed. Once again, we're not spying. We're not trying to make this unfair for you. So that's that.
Good, let's discuss this.
Okay.
Let's discuss all this information that we have on it. Signs, we need signs. Where do we put these signs at?
In my opinion, professional opinion, you put them like eye level. You don't want to have this one sign hidden.
Of course.
Put them in the lobby, pretty much put them anywhere where there's a camera. It's a pretty good
The
protocol.
thing is in the entry area, upon entering, people will see it.
Definitely, so they know before they enter it, if they go in here, you're gonna be told. One thing I wanted to go over on yours is, you mentioned that, basically the usage of cameras, it's not just to prevent or deter theft. You can use it for things like, you can see how business is going, you can look in, see if someone's struggling and doing something, or even something like if your customers are tripping over a doormat. I mean, there's lots of uses in installing
And
cameras.
security guards can help with that as well.
Exactly.
They can also, you know.
They're
be
there to
a
help.
part of your staff.
Pretty much. And security is security.
Well, you can't forget about with a face. A security guard face is more approachable to a person in need of help than obviously a security
Yeah,
camera.
I feel a lot more
You see that very
So-
common. Customers, they usually go.
Customer service, we want customer service throughout.
Okay, it's reputation, okay. If we want to grow, definitely reputation is a big thing.
What do you think?
I was wondering, because you went over, you're the human resource manager, and you went over employer rights, and I'm concerned about theft from employers. If you could kind of go over again your thoughts on monitoring employers, where we can do that, where we can't.
If I'm understanding you correctly, in what areas of employees access or?
Yes, like when they're on the computer, when they're at the teller booth, what actions can we take to help monitor them while at the same time respecting the privacy?
I think in areas where they're working, we have full rights because it first of all is our property. Otherwise, if we catch it, if we zoom in and we're looking at what they're doing on their phone, that's already crossing the line. What they're doing on our computers, I think that's what we were talking about, also considering cyber security.
And we will bring in a separate
Right.
associate for that.
So that's, I think, does that answer your question?
That's a question.
And then also, we haven't talked about cons with security cameras. Security cameras catch everything we do. So it could also be used against us. It could take, like, say if something happens, if we have a wet floor, which we won't, people can fall, and then they could use that surveillance against us, and that can cost us a lot of money. Medical bills.
Definitely, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways, double whammy.
Do you guys have any alternative security measures that might be unique that we could try to use?
Well, definitely, I mean, what's neat for the cameras is definitely the facial recognition. I mean, it's out there, but not a lot of people are currently utilizing it in the same way we are.
Well, is it going to be obvious to the customers that come in? Is it like a big red laser that shines out and starts zapping them in the face, or is it?
It's a little bigger camera than the normal ones.
Okay.
There's just a little more preliminary.
And about pricing, as far as I understand, it varies by package.
It varies all over the place. I mean, do you want one little basic camera and a network, or do you want it,
And I was wondering with HR, if you'd like to get with me and maybe make an employee awareness packet or binder so we can get them more informed. I think they need to know what their rights are and the actions that will be taken for them and against them if there's a violation of said rights. So,
What we also would be glad to offer at Apex is we'll come in, say on a weekend or even during the weekday, we can meet with your employees and explain what we're going to implement, what kind of technology we have, should do both, what's going to happen. So they're more aware and comfortable with.
yeah, I like that idea. I think an outside presence, kind of explaining to them. That's,
Kind of third party.
Let's bring back that 3D model real quick and let's map out where we want to put security cameras at. I know it's already shown.
I just have
but-
basic suggestions.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk.
Need an entryway here, and then we'll have an entryway here.
It covers all the areas that I wanted covered as a security manager. I
Yeah.
mentioned in my presentation that I wanted them at all entrances and exits and around the places of work and cash exchange, like the teller booth and where we exchange money, like loading into the vault or taking
Yeah,
out.
there is also the entrance, the camera inside the vault, and that's the after hours, any motion detected will alert the law enforcement.
How would it be if a person goes in? Of course, it depends. I'm not sure. We have separate vault areas for
Yeah,
people, correct?
for sure.
And how would that be in case if they decided to say there's a surveillance, we don't feel
inside the vault. Well, I mean, that's something that you're gonna have to talk about with the customer, and you're gonna have to draw the line. Do we wanna compromise one person and risk the safety of the entire vault? I mean, that's a personal issue.
And then let's talk about the physical aspects, Greg, of security. Where would they be set up on this? By the ATMs, would we have one monitoring it, or would you have it in the lobby or what?
The parking lot is out here, right? They would be monitoring the outside. It all depends on how many security guards you would have. Mainly, you would have one here, just watching the whole area. They may, walk around a bit. If you have a couple of them, yeah, you definitely have one inside, but another one surveying the outside.
That's a good question, actually. For a standard bank, what would you recommend security presence physically?
I would recommend at least two.
Two?
If you're gonna
So
have
do you
two.
have one roaming and one that's a stationary, or are you looking for?
Yeah, they go in shifts, but usually you'll have one just in the main lobby, and then the other one will, yes, be going outside and things like that.
As a security manager, from experience, I'd say this is a lot dictated by time. Like during the day, we're going to have a lot more traffic in the area. We're going to need more security guards to monitor the people, the customers, and the employees who are there. While in the evening, like at off hours, there's going to be no one in the bank to really monitor, and it's kind of easier to monitor the bank because there's not supposed to be anyone in there at all.
Okay.
And on another sense of physical security, we've been testing this new theory of using animals inside banks.
Like
Dogs, yes,
yeah.
dog units, but we're still working out the legalities and things like that, what if it just attacks somebody that's not?
So that's considered in your packages?
That's a
No.
developing.
Yeah, there
developing,
is a
yeah.
developing technology, so maybe going forward in the future, we can talk more about that.
Yes.
We just wanna iron out the details before we offer that.
And talking about physical security, I'm looking at security. What I looked into is about $13 to about $15 an hour. Basically, what security pay is that?
For the security guards?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's generally, $2,000 a month for unarmed, and $3,000, that's just the minimum, like, base pay. Our company would be more expensive, since we do actually go through the systems.
There's a lot of
and look.
certification.
Yeah, you gotta look for the good people. It's not just that they're certified, it's
It's
that
not
they're
red cloud.
personable, they can, communicate with your customers well. They know what to say when things happen, they're just trained.
And from the attorney standpoint, so I don't get any legal things on my hand, where would physical security or be?
I'm assuming that their physical security is going to be under their own insurance, so it doesn't fall under us. I'm not quite sure. Can you repeat the question on?
Like, where would they be? Like, by the ATMs, in the lobby?
Oh, location-wise. Oh, okay. Clearly, you want one at the front entrance. I also like the meet and greet part of the physical security. They're there. They're a smiling face. They're also looking you in the eye and letting you know, step up. So that's like obviously a key area. By the ATMs, I would think, especially closer towards night, evening, security manager would probably be more geared towards answering that because there's not really a legal issue since it's a public place with another person. You're not going to run into real issues with the penal code or the.
I think
Yeah,
another
for-
major thing would be, is how you mentioned the entry area.
Mhm.
Also by the cafeteria. I'm not saying that it's right there.
Yeah,
But you know how you sometimes have those problematic customers?
yes.
And sometimes they might get a little bit routed up, and we want to contain the peace. That's our main goal. And sometimes, a physical body can stand to walk up and see what's the issue. Do we need to take this matter somewhere else?
And as well as the teller.
That's
I've seen
Yeah.
on some instances that they can, be pretty mean to a customer, and it, like you said, having that presence there, just.
Yeah,
It goes both
that's
ways.
Since we're running out of time a little bit, I kind of want to get back to the main feature of this meeting. So we've seen this security agency,
And we do have more to present.
right, to me personally, I haven't really seen enough of their company to fully determine whether or not I can advise using them or not, because there are some factors such as online security that I'm not sure, because we still need to bring in more associates, and I'd like to see other associates maybe at another meeting. So,
We have a
what do you,
possibility of that.
what do you guys think about maybe quoting these guys for costs and potentially using them for security?
Yeah. Because when you mentioned that you have so much more, we were aware of that since you're now, making new progress with different programs. It really catching our attention more. So I think I'll just let Jesse
Yeah.
make this final decision.
I just hope we have some of these kinds of security cameras within your
We have many
packages. Yeah,
Great.
definitely. We'll go with
That's a
that.
start.
So I think our meeting is about wrapped up. We ran into we need more information about next time we need more prices.
Yeah, I definitely also need to get his legal question answered.
Legal question.
We covered a lot of things, but definitely
Yeah.
And
there's.
there was one thing I wanted to cover. We do use a cloud storage system, so like Travis said, if you have multiple branches, anyone with internet access and the network access can view live and archive footage. So it's not, you're gonna have one station in each bin.
But
You
is
can
that a
access.
security detriment though, for them being able to see, like if someone were able to breach our servers and someone getting access to these cameras?
We,
Well, it's
I
harmless.
mean, it's a very tight, like we said, we do have cybersecurity associates that work every day to make sure our network is stronger and more
I would
credible.
definitely like to hear more about that at the next meeting, and hopefully you can bring more information on how security it is.
So let's set up our next meeting, possibly next week, Monday, same time as that place, so we can
And
go.
we'll bring our other associates.
Thanks for everybody
Okay.
for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me just one moment. I really don't have a question, I just want to confirm something. So what I'm hearing is that you're gonna go with cameras, security guards, but you're gonna get some quotes from these guys, and then you're gonna kind of investigate other companies?
Yes, well, I mean, so far, we need more information about the company themselves, because there's some security features like I was looking for that they don't have information on, they need another associate. So our next meeting is kind of about getting that information we don't have, and then a meeting in the future would be about quoting costs if we like that information. If we don't like that information, we'd be searching for another company that would benefit us.
But more leaning on yes, because
Yes.
clearly we have so much more.
Yeah, we just want to hear from the cyber guy,
Just to
cyber
cover
geeks.
ourselves. Yeah.
That's all I have.
All right.
You don't mind, here you go.
You want all four? Feel really good.